Hey, hello everyone. Hello, book lovers and English readers. Welcome to episode 9 of this live podcast week. And today we're doing a book in review podcast. Hey, Kitty. Hello, how are you? Thank you for joining the podcast today again, as always. And hello. I hope you had a nice day and that you're excited about the weekend. Yes, it's Friday. It's Friday. Yes. And just before you kickstart, I'm hosting tomorrow this is going to be our third weekly online meetup, to discuss the topics that I've been Yay! So to discuss then the podcast topic of these weeks. So we will be talking about the book Be Seen that I reviewed on Monday. Then we will be able to talk about graded readers, extensive reading, the concept of extensive reading that I talked about in on Tuesday. Then on Wednesday I talked about graded readers, if my memory is good. And yesterday I talked about graphic novels and how amazing they are, and how they can be used in the classroom, especially if you are an English teacher. And today we are going to do a new book in review. I'm going to do my book in review of Younger. And so these are going to be the different topics. And Kitty, are you going to be there tomorrow on Saturday at 9 a.m. As always, 9 a.m. CET. I'm hosting this weekly virtual meetup for you to be able to practice your speaking skills and talk about books, obviously, but also so many topics. So I look forward to meet you, Katie, and hopefully we will meet our new member of the book club. Hopefully she will be able to attend the live session tomorrow. I will leave a little message. Yay, you'll be there. Great. And I will leave a little message on the Facebook group to make sure that she's also aware that there is the book club, the meetup tomorrow morning. And that we will be able to meet each other this week again. So I'm going to start now and let you discover this beautiful book. So I've already talked about this book. I've already introduced this book, Younger, written by Pamela Redmond, in episode 3. I talked mainly about the author, and I did a little overview of the different themes and topics approached in this book. And I also talked about the director and the producer of the adaptation of the book into a TV series that takes the same name as the book. You can have access on the series um, only, I think, on Apple TV, or where did I managed to watch this series on, it was on a French platform, but doesn't exist anymore. I can't even remember what was the name of the, yeah, it was a platform that existed very briefly. Now it doesn't exist anymore. So your only way to access to it is, I think, on Paramount Plus. If you have an Amazon Prime Video account, I think that you can get free access with Paramount Plus. I think that they have in their catalog this series, but you need to check. Just, you can just type on Google younger TV series, and then you will see where you will be able to watch the episodes. I think there are five series, and yeah, there is roughly five series. Yeah, I think, and I can't remember how many episodes there were. Around 10, 8 or 10, something like that, in each series. So I actually discovered this book I by watching the TV series. I didn't know that it was actually based on a book, and I discovered it while I was watching it, and I enjoyed so much the TV series that I was curious to know how different the book was from the series. And actually, I talk about those differences in my episode, in my previous episode, in episode 3, um, which is called uh younger, no, what was it, Pamela Red, no, I can't remember. I was introduction to Younger and the TV series, the hit TV series. Yeah, I can't remember, it's episode 3. And I talk about the differences between the book and the TV series, and how the producer Darren Star, which is the producer of many amazing TV series that I'm a fan of, such as Sex and the City, and more recently Emily in Paris. So he's a very famous and successful producer, and he also produced the classic of TV series, which is Beverly Hills as well. So there are so many TV series that he produced. So obviously he's a kind of a reference in the world of TV series and women series as well. I mean, specifically for Sex and the City and Emily in Paris and Younger, it's very much based around the feminine characters. Beverly Hills and Melrose Place were kind of based on male and female characters, but I have to say that, but I believe that the audience who was watching those TV series in the 90s were mainly women. I think he is a producer that is very interested in producing and directing shows that that are made for women, and that women are interested in, the type of topics that they aim at women, at a women audience, I guess, or female audience. So when I discovered that, I was so surprised, and I was actually glad. Well, yeah, it didn't surprise me in the end that I really enjoyed the TV series, because I think it's well adapted. However, I have uh, I preferred some aspect in the book that has been changed in the TV series. And this is a little bit of I will talk a little bit about it later on. But some aspect of the TV series that I'm not quite happy about in terms of the differences into the adaptation. Um, I and this is where I preferred the book version in those elements. So this is where you see that when something is made by women, is always better quality than it's been made by men or adapted. But obviously, when there is so many people involved and so many stakeholders in this, so many stakeholders is a term that says about there are so many let's say impact that is something can have. It's a tricky term to explain. It's this idea of something that will have a lot of has a big importance in certain areas, and has a big power, sort of, because it's been, I think it was aired on ABC channel in the US. And I believe that when you adapt a book into a series, you have to take into account many factors, and you have the TV broadcast, that the broadcasts company that will have a say in certain things. So I guess there are so many people involved in the making of a TV series, and all the money that goes around producing such a show, that I guess that the essence of the book is a bit lost in translation, if I may use that expression. So this is why sometimes I can understand why people obviously prefer the book than the TV series or the film. Sometimes I'm quite happy with both. I'm quite happy with the film adaptation, and I'm happy with both of them. But in this case, I have to say that I have a little preference on the book, obviously, and you always have more details, and it's a different artwork. So obviously, you're gonna find it's going to be a different feeling towards the material. So let's get started. So this is a story of a woman in her 40s who just got divorced, and when she starts to when she decides that, okay, now I have to go back to work, then she doesn't have any other choice than going back to work, because financially it's just it's very she's struggling, so she needs to go back to work, and she going to find very difficult to get hired as a 40-year-old woman. And for that, oh, what is going on here? And she's going to find her, she's going to have to fake her age and pretend to be younger, because, well, she has this advantage of looking younger than she is. So it's going to be quite credible for her to do that. I mean, in the choice of the actress, it made sense as well. And the author of the book was actually inspired not by her own experience, but by friends of her who were actually taken for younger than they were. So it's actually based on real experience from close friends. So this is how she got the idea of the age faking. So this book is really an invitation to explore ageism and the millennial culture and the value of growing older as well. This book was written in 2005, so quite a long time ago, and it took roughly 10 years, a bit less than 10 years, to get to be recognized as something that could potentially be adapted into a TV series. And after that, when the TV series was it first aired, I think it was in 2019, no, maybe, or 26. I know that this is the new edition, so they republished the book in 2019. Yes, indeed. Yes, in 2020. Yeah, probably, yeah. So probably it aired in 2019, maybe. There is actually some pictures of the cast in the book here. That's quite nice to have some of pictures here from the book, from the TV series. And you've got here, so they redid the cover, they adapted the cover, and they put the actress here of the TV series in front of the cover. So I'm gonna start here. So I've made my little annotations and my little bookmarks here to follow. So hopefully this time I'm a bit more, it should be more organized than my first book in review, where I had made little notes, but wasn't really exactly the passage I wanted to talk about. Anyway, so page 8 and 9 here. I selected this passage because here is how she she's reflecting on her life, or at least she's telling about all the rejections that she faced, and all these rejections made her question her entire life and her choices. So here's the passage. I had to admit she was right. So here she is with her childhood friend Maggie. The main character This one is called Alice, and her friend is called Maggie. Alice used to live when she was up to her divorce. She used to live in New Jersey. It's the suburb of New York. I think it's in the south of New York, and she is visiting her friend who lives in Manhattan, in New York, Manhattan. So the very heart of New York. And this is chapter 1, in which the story starts on New Year's Eve. So they are spending New Year's Eve together. And they are talking. And I think she is telling her friend here about her experience, her rejections, and all that. I had to admit she was right. So Maggie was right. I may have left my job at Gentility Press. So before she got married, before she got pregnant, let's say, she used to work in a publishing company. So it's a book that talks about books, which is also one of the elements that I liked the TV series, because it was talking about, books and editing and all that, and publishing, and we could we could learn more about the publishing world, and I really liked it. And she used to work so Gentility Press is the name of the publishing company. And when she got pregnant, she stopped working to dedicate herself to the education of her daughter and raising her, and staying and become a housewife. So here is why she's talking about Gentility Press. I may have left my job at Gentility Press because I had to when I started bleeding and almost lost the baby. But once Diana was born, I stayed home because I wanted to. And then as she got older, I kept telling myself I couldn't go back to work because maybe this was the year I'd finally get pregnant again. But the truth was that Diana is her baby, her daughter, herself was all the focus I needed in my life. So now I wanted to undo that. Now I wished I could go back and put Diana in daycare, become a working mom, or even not have Diana at all. Had devoting all those years to my child disqualified me from ever claiming a life for myself. The real reason I wished I'd been different back then was so that I could be different now. Ballsier, bolder, capable of grabbing the world by the throat and bending it to my will. That's a very strong image here. But here it's quite interesting to see that she is really questioning all her choices, even feeling remorse, regrets. What is this? Did I had to give up on the dream to be a mother again, because after she had her daughter, she wanted to have another child, but she couldn't get pregnant again. So then this is why she said that then she focused all her attention on her daughter. So yes, that was a very that was very interesting in that sense. the fact that sometimes when we get rejected, we start questioning everything. I don't know if you, I mean, this is what it made me feel like. And I related to that feeling, really. On page 19 now, Maggie is trying to shift Alice's belief system by arguing that we can reinvent ourselves at any age. So they are having this little argument where Alice is saying um, that they are too old for this. I don't know what, I can't remember what they're talking about. Oh yes, because Maggie wants to get pregnant and raise and on her own or adopt a child. She wants a baby. She is single and she feels ready to have a baby, so she wants to get an insemination and IVF stuff. And actually Alice is quite shocked when she learns, when Maggie tells her this news, and she's like, but you're too old. Okay. And this is where Maggie explodes. And then they having a little argument. And then here it's Maggie, yeah, that is talking. You mean like it's too late for you to get back into publishing? She said. Like it's too late for you to have a career? So it's Alice telling the words of Maggie. Now I was the one struggling not to cry, and it was Maggie's turn to reach out and squeeze my arm. I don't believe that, she said. I don't think it's too late for you. That's exactly my point. We're not a couple of old ladies who should just fold up our tents and shuffle off to the nursing home. The nursing home, it's like the place where when you get very old, then people look after you because you can't look after yourself anymore, like a retirement home, sort of. There's still plenty of time for both of us. Come on. So she's really trying to cheer her up and say that it's not too late, and try to get her on the positive side of things, and try to kind of cheering up and giving her a boost of confidence, and try to give to show her that she's not at the end of the road, and she's just only 40, in her early 40s, and there's still so much more that she can do. So even if it feels hard and like impossible. And then in the book, you will find a lot of literary references that I really liked, that I loved. Here she is. This is one of the literary reference here. When I was really 22, I was finishing up my study of Jane Austen and the Brontes at Mount Holyoke. That's the name of the university. My hair scrapped back in a ponytail, and my body swathed in a big baggy sweat clothes, and my thick glasses perennially sliding down my unpowdered nose. So that's the first literary reference that the author makes. That's quite nice. And on page 36, here is quite a serious and very, she hits the bottom here. She's having a mental breakdown, because her daughter announces her. She's in her 20s, and she left. She went to America, to Africa for. She left the country for with an organization to help communities in Africa. It doesn't say exactly in which country, but she's there doing humanitarian work. And she announces to her mother that she is going to stay a little bit longer. So here, what she says: my breath caught in my throat. I'd managed to suspend everything: my fear, my anxiety, my overwhelming desire to be close to her, physically and emotionally again, by telling myself she'd be back in November. And now all those feelings I'd kept dammed up came flooding through me. And I let out a cry that was much louder than I intended. So all those feelings that she kept inside because she really wanted to keep a nice face, or feeling that showing that she was sort of in control, but then learning that her daughter, and she was expecting so much that her daughter would be back in January, and the fact that she's not, it's she was, again, we can see here, she was holding onto her daughter still again, in this difficult period of her time. But here she's not there, she's not coming back soon. So here she is on her own, having to face that reality of finding a job and dealing with a divorce, um, and that she finds it really tough. And later on, she says again, I could barely breathe and definitely couldn't speak. So those are the two passages here, where we can feel the despair of Alice. Then page 47, it's an interesting passage here because it makes us reflect on the idea that being young is not always advantageous. So here it's quite a funny passage here. She is applying to different jobs because she couldn't find work in publishing. So she tried different jobs, and here she applied for a waitressing, and she's actually experiencing discrimination and very. Hello, Rafael. Welcome. How are you? And she is talking about the experience of being discriminated, and facing sexism, really. When he's asking for age, how old are you, Alexa? Yeah, it doesn't even know how to say her to remember is her name, and she says 16 straight. That's a new book. Yes, it's hello, Titouan. What are you doing? Oh gosh. Yes, it's called Younger. but it's more, the level is advanced here. So it might be a little bit difficult. It's a new book, yeah. But I'm not, you're learning. Great, great. Listen, keep listening. And if you want to say something, just leave a message if you have a comment. And I'm not reading, I'm just reading some passages. Okay, I'm doing a review. I'm talking about the book, but I'm not reading everything. Okay, it's a review. I'm saying comments, I'm saying what I like about the book. What's the book about? It's about a woman, who is, around 40 years old. It's about sexism. Yes, and discrimination, age discrimination, and women. Okay. So here is her realization of the fact that being young is not necessarily a good thing. If looking younger could help me get a great job, the kind of job I dreamed of when I first started applying last year, the kind of job I'd had at Gentility Press so long ago, then I was willing to go forward with the masquerade. But the masquerade is, it's actually, it comes from French, mascarade. A masquerade is the whole, the big lie, or just not, of pretending that she is younger than she is. So that's a masquerade, the fact to hide something and making, and yeah, creating this identity. Yes. Okay. But so far, being young was even worse than being old. So it was interesting here, because what I forgot to say, so she's saying that because this guy, she is applying for this waitressing job, and at some point the guy says, oh, I can't have girls in my kitchen. And then after that, it says, it was before, sorry. Would you consider a name change? He asked. And after that, he asked, oh, can you show your tits? Tits is breasts. And you know, that's where, okay. And this is where she's really shocked. And she's like, okay, this is what it, if that's being young, then I don't want to be young. I'd rather to be considered as an older woman and be respected. So that was the whole thing with this. So I found that quite interesting to see that the book is, yes, it's horrible. It's not good. Don't do that, guys. And it's interesting to see that despite what we would think that everything is good, if everything is better when we are younger, then here we can see that there are not only advantages of being young. You cannot be taken seriously. You can be, people can take advantage of the fact that you don't know everything, or I mean, don't know everything, but I mean that you're not, you may be naive when you're young, and and you have less confidence when you're young. So people take advantage of you. So if I try to ask the question in English, practice your English, dis-toi. Yes, I am bilingual. Sort of, yeah, I can say I'm fluent in English. So what's the next passage? Page 59 and 63. Here are two literary references. So page 59, Alice meets Lindsay for the first time. So Lindsay, so in the end, Alice manages to, she applies again to Gentility Press, but as someone that is younger, and she puts on makeup, she dresses differently, and she tried to get into to get a job at Gentility Press, the publishing company, and she gets the job. So she manages to not mention her age or anything, and she changed the date of her exams and of the graduation, and she gets the job. And Lindsay is she's in her 20s, and she is a young editor, yeah, a junior editor. And so an editor is someone that is going to, you're a writer, you write a book, and you send it to a publishing company, and she is the one that is going to read your book and say, oh, you should change that passage, or maybe write like this, or she's going to try to improve, make your book a little bit better if needed, if necessary. So she is that's her job. She is a junior editor, and she is introducing herself. I'm Lindsay, by the way. Alice. Ah, she said, as in Monroe or Walker? I could have kissed her. Everyone says as in Wonderland, I told her. I'm not everyone, she said, but I'll still be your white rabbit. And with that, she vanished down the maze of corridors of Gentility Press, leaving me more nervous than ever about the coming week, and more excited. Okay, bye, Raphael. Have a nice evening. Bye. um, so here, Monroe is actually the name of, so Alice Munro is a story, is a short story writer. She is American, I believe, yeah. And she is quite famous for a book called Dear Life. So this is how she makes the reference of Alice's name. And that Walker, Alice Walker, is actually the author of a very famous book that is again going to be adapted into a film called The Color Purple. And she is an American writer. She's African-American writer. And she wrote this book, The Color Purple. And it's going to be I think it was released, actually. The film was released in December, last December, and was produced by Oprah Winfrey. And there's so many amazing actors in this film. I have to watch it, actually. And but I think it hasn't been released in France yet. I I haven't seen. I don't know. I'm not sure. Um, so it's a very popular book in American. Is a classic. It's actually a classic of American literature, modern, contemporary American literature. And I liked as well that reference, that literary reference, that second literary reference. Now the third literary reference is page 63, and she is Alice is telling how she enthusiastically embraced the idea of being a housewife. And this is what she says. And I embraced housewifery and motherhood as enthusiastically as Gary. Gary was her former husband, did dentistry. And in much, I see now the same spirit. Given the threatened miscarriage, Diana's premature birth, and delicate health, my repeated and failed attempt to have another child, it had ended up being the best life available to me. And I relished it with the same fervor I'd once reserved for dissections of Jane Eyre. Yeah, I really like the parallel between her enthusiasm how of being a housewife, of taking care of her child, as much as she had before, um, uh, as she had studying Jane Eyre. So, which is Jane Eyre is actually a very famous book from Charlotte Bronte, so one of the Bronte sisters, and it's been adapted in many films. There are many films adaptations of this uh, artwork, and I love the story as well. And it's also a book that I have to read as well, to read the original book, because I haven't had so far, and it's a classic of English literature, and I definitely have to read this book. It's on my TBR. Okay. Now in page 68, there is a lovely quote that I really like the way that she phrased it, and it also allows you, again, in the same idea of Maggie cheering up Alice, about the fact that we can reinvent our lives at any time, at any point in our life. And this quote says, "And yet the very act of stepping back into a younger life required a spirit of adventure and a belief in the future, in the possibility of possibilities, that I was going to have to revive and cultivate as if I were a vampire and it were my fresh blood." Yeah, I find this quote very inspiring. Um, Then there is another aspect of the book that I quite enjoy, and these references made me these pop culture references made me laugh as well, made me smile, not laugh, but made me smile. um it's a reference to Taylor Swift and Kendall Jenner here. So she's at work, and there she is attending a meeting. We have to work harder than ever to get young women's attention these days, Terry said. Plus, the popular images of women have become so sexy and idealized. Terry is actually Alice's boss, because Alice has been hired as a marketing the head of marketing assistant. So Alice is actually an assistant. She's not working as an editor. She's an assistant of the head of marketing. And that's Terry. So she is saying that. Plus, the popular images of women have become so sexy and idolized. Think Kendall Jenner. I think we have to revisit our cover book. Sorry. That's when the song started. Taylor Swift singing at full volume, "You Belong With Me." So one of the hit song of Taylor Swift. My phone, later on, it says, my phone was flashing, it was vibrating, and now that it was literally out of the bag, it was playing "You Belong With Me" loudly enough to dance to. So we can see here as well the author's taste in music and the type of things that she enjoyed, and she actually enjoys. She's actually a Swiftie here, and I have to admit that I have recently realized that I was one myself, quite late actually. I didn't realize that I really actually was very much into her music. I love her folklore album, and I love also the fact that she was a friend of a very an amazing band that I love, Haim. It's a group of three girls, of three sisters. They're American, and they play pop rock music, and they made music together. And she also collaborated with other artists that I really love. And until recently, I wasn't listening to her music, and I didn't really pay attention to her lyrics. And I had recently, and I think like a lot of people have recently realized the powerful lyrics that she's been writing for many years, but because of the media and the the bad press that she was given, because she was not letting herself be controlled by other people and by the music industry and men in this industry. She was portrayed as someone that was um, that wasn't really that we would take seriously. And because of the pop song that she would make, or because of her just her personality, just by being someone that is doing stuff with her, doing kind stuff with kind things, sorry, to her fans, and to her to the people who was working with her. Yes, there is this expression in America, gaslighting. It's actually, yes, this really I feel like I've been um the media have influenced my um my feelings towards her music and her work when but actually when you look deeper, when you listen to her songs, when you really pay attention to her work, you're like, what? No, what? Why are they talking like that about her? Because what she, her music is amazing, and what she's been doing so far, and now we can see as well after 10 plus 13 years in the business, even more, she is still, and she's making even better music than before. So yes, that was a little heads up here. Taylor Swift and the stuff that made me reflect on as well. I'm realizing that this is nearly the end of this live on Instagram, and I have still a couple of notes to talk about, so I'm going to do the rest. I'm going to carry on Zoom to finish off this book review, and it will be available now on not now, sorry, it will be, so this episode, so episode 9, will be available on Wednesday 28th of February. So at the end of this month, you will be able to have to watch the full episode on YouTube or on Spotify. So I'm going to finish this live podcast on Instagram, but I'm not leaving Zoom. I'm finishing it there, and I thank you very much for attending this live, and I wish you a beautiful rest of the day, and I can't wait to meet my members tomorrow at 9 a.m. CET to talk about all the stuff that we discussed this week. And I will see you on Monday. Monday, big time. It's going to be a new live read along with Little Women. We're going to start the live reading of Little Women, and I can't wait to start reading this book with you and discuss the book as well. So thank you again, and I wish you a beautiful evening, and see you soon. Bye. Okay, so let's continue here with the review of Younger and the page 89. Not 1989, but 89, talking about Taylor Swift. So 89 is about the fact that Lindsay and Alice are arguing about getting married, this idea of getting married, and at what age you should get married and have children. And it it's sometimes it can be a conversation that you can have with some of your friends or some members in your family or close or people that are in your social network. And it really feels sometimes the peer pressure that we can have towards each other, and especially if you're someone that is, you feel like an outsider, you feel like you're not ready to get married or have children, if you feel like you are at a different pace than other people, or yeah, other members of your family, because you often compare yourself to the people around you, And here you can feel the peer pressure that you can have sometimes, that you can feel sometimes. When I asked Lindsay what her big rush was, because Lindsay actually wants to get married and start having children, because the clock is a turn, is the clock is turning. Yeah, anyway, so this idea of the biological clock, and this false ID, because we've been told for years, that decades, that at a certain age, or women, let's say in her 40s, that women have less chances to get pregnant and all that. I mean, there is more risks, but it's not impossible. So many women are having children in their early 40s or late 30s, and this contributes to the pressure, the social pressure that women feel about starting a family, and the fact that if they don't do it now, then they will they must have children before 35 or whatever, because otherwise they're gonna have less chances. And there are so many, we can see that so many women are having children later in their 30s, and I think that it's giving false a false ID on, and it's also, it shows as well a false knowledge, or not a false knowledge, but I would say a uh a misinformation, yeah, a misinformation about, or sorry, I don't have the exactly how to express this idea, that actually it shows that how little um the doctors, or sometimes, yeah, or specialists can, the knowledge that they have on women's body, and how little research as well has knowledge on the female body, because they have those, because they're saying it shows that there are less, the ovulation and all that, it decreases, but it doesn't mean that you will never be able to get pregnant. So I believe, and all bodies are different, so what applies to someone doesn't necessarily applies to you. And I think the fact that we're putting actually pressure on ourselves, I think affects the fact, the ability to get pregnant, because we are so focused on that. And it's so much about, the body is such an intelligent machine, because the brain can control so much on the rest of your body. And this is why sometimes, when the body is to a point that it cannot continue like that and cannot handle it, then it crashes. And then this is where you sometimes you learn that you are having a certain disease, or maybe cancers or things like that. I think there's many modern disease like cancer are actually triggered by anxiety, stress at work, all those modern society challenges and pressure. They are translated this way in our body. And I think that life is tough enough, and that we as women should be kinder to ourselves and sometimes let go, and and as much as we can try to not worry about those I don't know, it feels like there is a deadline to become a mom, and I want to believe that there is no such a thing, and there's many ways to have children if it's really something that you want to. So let's not putting pressure on ourselves, because men don't really put pressure on themselves. And when they do, when as a couple you both put yourself pressure on this, this is where it becomes even more difficult, and when sometimes people struggle to have children. There are many factors, obviously, but I think that the mental and psychology of the way the pressure you put on yourself to tell yourself, oh, we must have a child now, or otherwise it's going to be too late, affects a lot of couples and a lot of people. So here is the passage. When I asked Lindsay what her big rush was, she fed me the fertility and age statistics and said that if I were smart, I'd get busy looking for a husband and starting a family too. Because obviously she believes that she's single, and she is in her 20s. And I think she makes believe that she's 25, not 29 or something, 28, 29. So it's frightening as well how society construct our beliefs and built this belief system in our brain, and that becomes a reality, and that becomes our belief system. And it's hard to break that and deconstruct this belief system that we've been born into for years, because we bury this from generations and generations. And breaking the cycle of this is demands strength and confidence in and knowing yourself. So having the confidence to know knowing yourself better helps you have this confidence to not buying this, to not get yourself influenced by people telling this, you have to do this and that. And that takes courage, that takes being brave as well, to stand up and speak up for yourself, but also for many other women that feels the same. And stopping this belief system. And now page 118, we are reading here a passage with Maggie, where Maggie makes Alice realize that she is rejecting Josh because of his age and because he is younger than her. Because here, so Alice has met a younger man, yeah, and his name is Josh. They've met in a bar, and he is really smitten. He is really into Alice. He really likes her, and he wants to date her. But Alice is not quite sure about dating him, and she doesn't have a lot of confidence in herself, and she doesn't really understand, and she doesn't see the point of dating him because he's younger and has other cultural differences. There's so many differences in their way of experiencing life, or their life experiences, that she doesn't really see any point of dating him. So you're rejecting him because of his hate, because of his age, she thundered, waving her padded arms, threatening to send iron candlesticks and silk shantung pillows and Venetian chandeliers rocketing to the ground. It's the very thing you hated when people were doing it to you. Maggie let her arms drop and smoothed the front of her coat. Damn right. Oh, sorry. No, sorry. Everything. Oh, so sorry. My shoulders sagged as all the air left my body. You're right, I said. Maggie let her arms drop and smoothed the front of her coat. Damn right, damn right. I thought that I thought what was important here was who somebody was inside. I thought the whole point was that age blinded people to each other's real and essential qualities. I thought we were trying to transcend all that and triumph over age prejudice. What could I say? It was all true. So here it's interesting to see that you have this say what I do, but don't do what I say. No, do what I say, sorry. Do what I say, but don't do what I do. So preach what you do, what you preach, basically. And here she's actually doing the same thing as the exact thing that she is criticizing. So it's interesting to see that discrimination in one way is shocking, but the other way is less. But I would say it's again a very female projection here, because men have been marrying way younger women for ages, for centuries, and it's never been a question. It's never been a real, you know, uh it was it that was the norm. Women aged like young women aged 18 years old or 16 years old being married to men in their 30s, double their age, you know. So um and that was normal. That was normal. And but the contrary, women all the time in the history, we've seen women having affairs or being married very rarely to someone that was younger, was shocking. So here we see again that we bear those ancient beliefs and something that and things that we feel like we shouldn't do, or we feel that we are an outlaw of doing that. But men don't really question themselves that much, or they don't really questioning that much the fact of dating someone that is way younger. It's actually they're actually feeling proud. I mean, they feel proud, and they're quite they're actually um feeling, yeah, some pride in this, and the fact that, oh, I'm someone that can be attractive again, and it feels reassuring as well. So that was about age prejudice. Um, Now, page 125, what was that about? Um, Here in this passage, Lindsay is making assumptions that life for women is easier now, but Terry disagrees. So here we are back at Gentility Press, and there Terry, but Alice's boss, is having an argument with Lindsay, Alice's friend and colleague, who and they are both arguing with the fact that yeah, this idea of balancing uh, family and work. So things have changed, Lindsay said. Women have more options now. Terry raised her severely severely plucked eyebrows. Yes and no, she said. In theory, they've changed, but in practice, I've had a lot of experience with this and see a lot of other women face the realities of trying to balance family and career. And I know it's still really difficult. It was really disturbing. It was really disturbing me to be having this conversation with these two women and find myself so thoroughly on Terry's side. But obviously, she's still pretending she's younger, so she doesn't say anything. And I believe I'm as well. I feel strongly on Terry's side. There are some advantages. Yeah, there are some good evolution towards women and their access to work and their access to um, uh, maternity leave and all that. So there are things that are better, and we feel that women are more considered, or are or at least people are more aware of the struggle of being pregnant and the afterbirth as well, the fact of being out of work, um, stopping the women in their career, and the lack of opportunities for them, um, especially if they are in their 30s or something like that. And the fact that you are wondering whether you will be able to keep your job once you come back to once you live uh to have your baby, and the fact that as a woman, are you going to have the same chances um of job opportunity than a man, because they always think that because bosses are often at the top, and men's are often bosses or at the top of a company, and that would uh, not consider you for a certain role, um, because you might leave at some point, or those old beliefs, but they're still in some industry and in some type of work, in type of in some companies, still uh, very embedded into the um belief of the people who are at the top. So um, I feel very much on Terry's side here. Sorry. And then I have this passage where, um, oh, this is a very steamy passage now, because then Alice reconsidered her dating life and decides to go for it with Josh. I mean, he's so cute. um, and she is here mentioning the first time they're having sex. And it's very steamy. So let me read you a little passage. The music was still playing, but we had stopped dancing. I reached out and touched his shoulder so hard, so tight. I couldn't resist running my hand along it, over its curved edge, over its curved edge, like the lip of a waterfall, and down the smoothness of his biceps. I trailed my hand across his chest to his nipple, hard as a pebble. I moved closer and kissed him there, flicking out my tongue to feel its ridge. Ridge is the top. So it's very um um we can see the image. It's very descriptive, I would say, and very it portrays quite um quite in quite um really uh how you experience it when you are having intimate relations with another person. And it's yeah, it feels quite nice, and it makes you feel a lot of feelings when you read that. It's very spicy, and it's quite nice. It brings a little bit of fire when you're reading it, so it's quite nice and very entertaining. um and I feel like it's very well imaged, if I may say, or the imagery is quite on point. So the next passage here, page 148, in here, Alice is reflecting on a book that she had started writing many years ago, but finally gave up by fear of failing. A feeling that I found very relatable, especially when it's about a creative career, or a creative hobby that you have and you wish you could do it as your work. And this is the difference between the book and the TV series, is that in the TV series, there is nothing about the fact that she is a writer herself, but it's actually her her boyfriend, who is also a her boss, a publisher. He's the publisher uh, of the. She's the manager of the publishing company, Gentility Press. That it's a different name in the series, and actually, he is the one who has wrote a book. And that, it's not really something that I liked. I would rather had actually Alice being a writer. I like this idea that she is a writer. There's so many men who are writing, and I think that I prefer that idea of her being actually being a writer herself than her boyfriend. Because here again, in the TV series, she is going to discover the manuscript of his book, and she is going to read it and encourage him to publish it, and being the star of being in the spotlight, where I would rather see Alice being in the spotlight. But I have to say that she, in the series, she is very much at the center of the storyline. But I don't know, I like this idea of her being the writer and not someone else, and not her boyfriend. So here is the passage. I wished then, with a pang sharper than I ever could have anticipated, that I had a creative career of my own, something I alone was in control of, something no one had to give me, and that no one could take away. I thought of the aborted novel I'd never looked at after I packed it away in the attic. It seemed now that, as with so many other things in my life, I'd given up too easily, because I was so terrified of failing. That was something I couldn't let happen again. And it resonates. I believe that that feeling resonates so much in many people, in many of us, because um, it's always daunting to to throw yourself into something that is deeply personal, deeply intimate, and something that a crazy, maybe an idea that no one thought about, and then launch and doing it yourself, and having the courage to do it. Um, or as a writer, there's so many writers, but writing a story from a specific angle, or I don't know, anyway, writing something that's going to be um, uh, judged by other people, or will be criticized as positive, or whether it's positive or negative, it's always something that it's scary. And but at the same time, it's something, as she said, that she is in control, and it does not depend on someone else above. You are owning your work, and you are at the heart of I mean, you are the one who is showing the lead. I mean, you are the one who is controlling what you do with with your work, and you doing it your way, and how you think it works, and you do not have to rely on other people deciding for your opportunities, um your career, the evolution of your career does not depend on someone else's will and belief in you, especially if they don't feel that, if they don't believe in you, or these people are not some are not bosses that are going to be encouraging and pushing you, or recognizing your work and your worth. So it's very empowering to be able to be the decision maker. And this is why I have this book club as well, because I am the one who is saying, who is choosing the book that I mean, in of course, in conversation with my members and all that, you in really in collaboration with my members, I choose the books and all that. Not for all the books, that all the things that I do with books, but with the podcast and everything, but in maybe I consult, I would say. I take I listen to my members, or I try as much as I can. But you it feels great to feel free to decide how you're going to evolve, or what things new are the things that you're going to do in the future, or how you, or the collaboration that you want to start, or yes, how you're going to evolve as a um, as a as a company, or as a, as an work activity, um, and that feels really empowering, because you are doing it your way, and not necessarily follow how it used to be. And it doesn't mean that what used to be done in the past, and what people do in their company necessarily is the right way. And we see so many people not being happy in their jobs and all that, that it really shows that there is not a right way to do business, or to build your company, or things that or to make your hobby into a full-time job, and something that you're going to be able to live on. So yeah, it's very rewarding actually to be able to be the one that's going to decide how things will evolve and how you want to take the next um, chapter, where you're going to take the next uh, what's going to be the next step for you. And it's so enriching to be able to see that something evolve and grow, because it's all about that as a human being. um I mean, personally, I feel I don't see myself doing the same thing forever, the same job forever, the same way forever. I want things to evolve and grow. I want to be able to project myself in the future and see and have big ambition, big expectations of life. Yeah. So uh, it's nice to dream big. So that was my insight and my reflection on this passage here. Um, Page 173 was a very unexpected passage. I will talk briefly about this. It's when Lindsay and Alice are kissing, and actually it's Lindsay kissing unexpectedly Alice, and it's quite a funny, a surprising moment, really, unexpected moments, and you wouldn't think that Lindsay will uh, behave widely like that. Um, and then we have this passage in page 181 where it's a quote about from the fact that oh yeah, it's a lovely quote of Alice being about Alice being in bed with Josh for the first time, taking off my clothes, climbing into bed with Josh, twisting myself around him as if it were possible for us to become one. I find it very poetic. Um, and yeah, I really loved her writing. Very much uh, anchored into real life stuff, and very raw I mean, very raw style, but and sometimes having these literary um, formula of or very literary structure sentences, and and poetic and poetic style of in her writing as well. So that's why I like that one too. And in page 204, here Alice rediscovers the manuscript that she abandoned years ago. And this is what she says. And then at the dusty bottom of one of the attic's dustiest boxes, I found it, the manuscript of the novel I'd started writing when Dinah was a toddler. The chapters I'd labored over for months, only to lose heart. The story felt familiar, yet not still. A domestic comedy about the suburban mother of a young child feeling that she wants more out of life, but not knowing how to get it. It was the not knowing how to get it part of the story that tripped me up. I saw now. I didn't know how to keep writing the novel because I didn't know how to get more out of my life. couldn't imagine how, for my heroine or myself, I thought I'd run out of ideas and energy writing the book. But what I'd really been clueless about was how to go forward with my own life. Now, though, it seemed so obvious what the woman in the story should do, how she should fail, what she should try next. So here she sees very clearly how to move forward the story that she had started many years ago. It feels that, yeah, she is not in the blur anymore. Now everything seems clear to her and she knows what she's going to write next. And this is exactly that feeling that you have when you're in the transition phase of your life and everything seems blurry, not sure how you're going to handle, how you're going to do, how you're going to make this work. But somehow little action, one after the other, will help you see clearer. And I related to so much with that feeling. So it's something that I've experienced myself. Yeah, definitely. We are towards the end of the book here, just a couple notes left. And we are page 226, where Terry is being very judgmental towards Alice after she learns about her real age. So everything is revealed now. I should have known Terry wouldn't have any sympathy for the difficulty of re-entering the workforce after being a stay-at-home mom, because Terry actually did not stop working. She kept, I mean, not as long as Alice, and because she is actually a mother and is still very, very much working. Other women keep working despite the sacrifices involved, she said. If you choose to sit at home, you have to be willing to pay the price. So, in other words, she says that, oh, you deserve, because you made that choice many years ago, then you have to deal with it, and you have to face the struggle, and you deserve it. Another way, you deserve it because you decided to be at home for some time now. You just deserve the fact of being rejected. And I don't think that's really being supportive. And I believe that we all have different phases in our lives, and sometimes we just need a break, or sometimes we just not sure, and judging someone because of a choice that she made and she felt right at the time is, and realizing that now she wants to change that lifestyle and wants to go back to work, then that shouldn't erase the experience that you had at some point, and that shouldn't be detrimental um, to your experience and your uh, and the voice that you could have on a certain on the field that you are actually are knowledgeable about. And it feels really that's very, very strong. That's yeah, sort of nasty, and she's very hard on her, and that's not what sorority and supportive women supporting other women is about. And it shouldn't um and if you are someone in your in your 50s or 40s, and you feel like you are capable of working in a certain field, then, and you want to do that job because you realize that you miss doing this, or you, why not giving a chance to that person? Just giving a chance is doesn't uh is always it can be a lot for someone, definitely. And she's very grateful. Alice is actually very grateful of being an assistant. So the fact that why she should not be respected, or at least considered for this job, just because she's in her 40s. There are so many jobs that there's so many uh, areas where in jobs there's yeah, so many cases, sorry, where you can see that you can have someone that is much younger because he's got the diploma, he's an engineer, or blah blah blah, he had the opportunity to do a lot of studies, who in the end is managing people that are older than him, because there are people who are mechanics or mechanicians, sorry, or people who are, I don't know, more handy in the execution of the tasks, and that feels normal. That doesn't not question. We did not question that much this fact. So why not hiring someone that is older than what an assistant is supposed to age like is ridiculous. Um, the next passage is page 229, and it's Alice revealing Lindsay's the truth about her age. But don't you see, I said, that's why I have to tell you the truth now. I think one reason I wanted to be friends with you was because you remind me of myself when I was your age. I was like you, so anxious to get on with the grown-up part of life. But now I realize that I missed out on so many pleasures of being young. No more, no, more than that. I used my marriage and my child as an escape from the hardest part of becoming an adult myself. I found this passage so interesting to see that, to see I I had never um thought about this idea of um actually uh seeing the marriage as an escape of growing up. That's paradoxal, really, when you see that she sees it that way, um and not as something that we could consider as a grown-up stuff, getting married and have a child. It's a lot of having a child is a lot of responsibility. And actually, it's something that she experienced as as a way to escape growing up, actually growing up in the workplace, I would say, or being afraid of challenging yourself in terms of um, career development, or in terms of taking risks as well in your professional life. So that's something that I've never heard about or read about before, or I've never watched a film that would make me reflect on that idea, or make me think that way. So that was very new to me, to see that marriage could be something that you could that women could consider as something to hide, because we often consider the fact that, oh, the women who are marrying and becoming housewives, oh, they find the easy way, or they um, we associate them with being lazy as well. There is a very negative meaning behind being a housewife sometimes. And but seeing it as something that would hide yourself, or like an excuse from growing up, or yeah, hiding in a way, hiding from life, from work experiences, work. Yeah. And yeah, it's a interesting insight here. Page 245 is going to be heartbreaking, because it's about heartbreak. Alice is breaking up with Josh. I knew what I had to say next, but I needed to postpone saying it, to savor what I suddenly knew was the last moment of my youth, of my own real youth and innocence. All of it, the clothes, the makeup, the pretending to be young, the job, even this relationship, had been not the calculated ploy of a mature woman, but a girlish game. And then, by getting younger, I had grown up somehow. I had become my real adult self. The person who now took Josh's hand in my own. I do love you, I told him. That's why I have to say goodbye. Yeah. So, and it feels very grown up in a way, or very mature to for her to do that. And it feels like for the first time in her life, she is deciding for herself, for what's best for her and for them. And she's ready to take the risk of losing him, because it feels like before taking the risk of being young, taking the risk of getting out of your comfort zone. We always come back to this, is getting yourself married at 20 years old, and because it's the right thing to do, or because you're in love and blah blah blah, and and having a child because it feels nice, and you are well supported, financially supported by your husband. You don't have to take care of uh, the bills or anything, because you have enough, you are financially secure. then it's comfort. Then it's nice, it's a cocoon. And getting out of taking the risk of getting out of this comfort zone and well taken care of uh, um, life, you know, like a little bubble life that you've created yourself, that you've if, that you created, and then the bubble explodes, and then it really feels like this, that she suddenly that the bubble suddenly exploded, and she is completely lost and doesn't know, she doesn't have she doesn't where to go, and she feels really lost. And here it really feels that she is really in life and taking action of the future, and she's deciding the future for herself and for their relationship. And that takes courage, that takes risks, because there are going to be consequences. And she's being real with him and honest, and she's being honest towards herself and towards him. And final intake here, and it's going to be quite a long book in review, but I had to finish this. And here is the last passage that I will comment on this book, and it's Alice that is changing her mind towards Josh, and she tries to reconquer his heart. And but I will not tell you how, because it's not quite the end, so who knows how the book is ending. I already spoiled a lot of things, but you'll have to discover and read the book yourself to know how it ends, because the end of the book is quite different from the adaptation of the TV series, because they also, in the TV series, they included as well the second book, the sequence of this book, which is called Older. And I haven't read the other book, but I know that it's been used in the TV series has been inspired by the second book. So, and there are more that it's quite different from the end of this book. But yeah, here is what she says to him, because she meets him at the airport. He's about to go to Japan, and this is what she says. Maybe if we were going to be together. Oh, that's him talking. And she's telling that she wants to be with him, and she asks him to forgive her. Maybe for breaking up with him. Maybe if we are ever going to be together, you're going to have to just let whatever's happening at that moment happen, and not try to nail down what's going to happen next. He picked up his pack then and started walking backward. And I did the only thing that, under the circumstances, I could do. I let it happen. So she apologizes and she's trying um, to be forgiven, but in the end, it doesn't really change his mind, and Josh leaves for Japan, um, and he's quite upset against Alice as he leaves, and that's quite understandable. So this is the last passage that I wanted to comment on, and there is a last chapter, chapter 23, and this is where you will have the real end of the book, and you will see how, if Josh and Alice end up being together or not. And that was it for me for this long book in review, but I really enjoyed doing it. And I thank you so much for watching this video. So I'm recording it quite a couple weeks before it's going to be available here on YouTube or on Spotify. So I'm just going to say that this video is now available, of course, if you're watching it. And I'm really happy because it's been the second book in review, and I hope that you have enjoyed the way I've reviewed the book. And please let me know in the comments what you thought about the book. And if you have watched the TV series, or if that made you want to read the book as well. So I thank you again for watching this video, and make sure that you subscribe as well if you want to listen more of these content, and of course to discuss the book and talk about other classics of literature or other books written by women, and contemporary books as well. And if you want to learn more how to speak English, or if you want to improve your English, sorry about my phrase here, I really invite you to join the book club if you want to improve your English and learn more about English literature or American literature, and just talk about books if you also enjoy reading, and want to share your thoughts and just discuss about all these topics that are very dear to me, and especially related to women and in society, and all the challenges that we face. So you are more than welcome to join the book club. It's you will find the link in the description of this video, and I can't wait to welcome you as a new member, hopefully in the future. Bye bye.